Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of this replay between Argos, Xenix, and CargoPros here on Scrap Station. Thor's Hellions back over here, siege tanks, army-wise, 2050 versus 2125, almost even in terms of gas as well. There are a couple of drones left mining out over here, but not much to be had. The Hellions gonna get some minimal damage, cleaning up some of these drones, but Argos Xenix doesn't need this hatchery nearly as much as the main mineral patches have already been mined out. Only a couple hundred minerals being left here. You can see Broodlord cocoons currently being morphed into play. Siege tanks with siege tech ready to blast away any broodlings, but unfortunately will have a little bit of splash damage on each other as well. There are missile turrets, and those missile turrets may be able to get some damage as those Broodlords are going to turn around and start getting a lot of splash damage very quickly across those Hellions. And now the Vikings are coming in. The Vikings now trying to shoot down those Broodlord cocoons, and now down it goes. So the Broodlords with only 2 armor trying to run away, and oh, Transfusion saving that very expensive Broodlord. Nicely done. So a Queen coming to save the day against saving the day for one of those units, as now we are getting the Terran vehicle weapons level 3 upgrades. Level 3 upgrades on those Thors will only still be able to deal 9 minus 6, only 624 damage per round of attack against those Corruptors, as those Corruptors are not light and have a large amount of armor. More Corruptors still being added, the Vikings still looking for their target. And one Queen also coming in position, the Queen very, very nicely deterring against those Vikings. So Queens being used as anti-air against those Vikings, as those Vikings do not want to go into ground mode. The instant they go into ground mode, Broodlords may show up and then just starts dropping Broodlings, and those Vikings would quickly fall to that. You can see the Queen with that range of 7 dealing 11 damage per attack. That is very, very effective. And now in come those Marines, but the Marines are going to now simply fall to those Broodlords. A Queen has been taken down as well, but now just massive damage and massive splash damage attacking against those own Marines there. And as the Broodlords continue to just drop the Corruptors trying to get within combat range, but those Vikings pulling away and turning around just in time to stay out of combat range. The Vikings 2.75, Corruptors are 2.95, I believe, yes. But with a range of 6 compared to a range of 9, the Vikings are better at dealing with those Corruptors than the Corruptors are at dealing with those Vikings. Too bad there are no Hydralisks in play. You can see that Argos Xenix has plenty of gas. He can easily perhaps go for Infestors, and Infestors with the fungal growth. There we go, never mind. I should be looking at my production tab. 9 Infestors currently being morphed into play as those Corruptors are continuing to battle it out. Queen's just doing a great job keeping this Broodlord army alive so far, as those Corruptors, taking a round of attacks from those Vikings. Vikings also dealing a decent amount of damage. 22 damage per attack right now, just because of the natural armor of Corruptors. One of the few units that have a base armor of 2. You can see now more and more Infestors are currently being massed into play, and now with this many Infestors, fungal growth followed by infested Terrans are going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Let's see how much energy is currently on those Corruptors. Corruptors don't have enough energy just quite yet. Infestors don't have quite enough energy, as those Infestors now trying to run away, and now Broodlords starting to drop in some of those Broodlings, and now there's a fungal growth. Those Vikings unable to turn around. Infestors getting multiple fungal growths, and now infested Terrans going to be spawning in the center of that army as those Broodlings are continuing to rain down. The infested Terrans, however, have all been destroyed as the Vikings are in the air trying to battle it out against the Broodlords. Broodlords are now getting taken apart by the Viking. There's still 1 Viking left. And now in comes another infested Terran, but that's not going to be able to do very much at all. This 1 Viking going to just wreak havoc onto these units here. Infested Terran now trying to move out, and now there are 2 or 3 0 upgraded Thors, so they're going to definitely be able to deal a lot of damage. But 17 Infestors and 12 Zerglings will be swarming out in just a moment. So the Mutalisk now coming out, and the Mutalisk getting a round of attack, and it looks like those Mutalisks are going to get cleaned up very easily by that magic box. But another round of attack, the Mutalisk now coming in, going to finish off the rest of these Marines and these siege tanks. So another transition tech into mass Mutalisks at this stage in the game. 16 Mutalisks now in the air, with more still being added to their numbers, as I thought there were 16, now down to 15, 1 more, so it will be 16, as this mineral expansion is nearly mined out. So CargoPros mining off of 3 mineral patches. Meanwhile, Argos Xenix mining off of many more mineral patches here, and you can see his income is 5 times greater. He's going to be able to deal a lot more damage and build a much larger army. CargoPros is definitely on the ropes now. He needs the macro up. Unit-wise, 14 Marines and 3 Vikings against 15 Mutalisks, 1 Infestor, and 2 Queens. No combat shield still on those Marines, and Argos Xenix is asking his opponent what exactly he is doing, as those Vikings are now trying to swarm in, and it looks like those Mutalisks trying to get more damage across those Vikings. Those Vikings trying to turn, shoot, and scoot, not going to be able to, as another command center gonna get destroyed, and those Vikings using that range superiority against those Mutalisks very effectively. Production wise, we are now getting some banelings as well, as Argos has now lost his own expansion in this location here. You can now see Zerglings deciding to just swarm out over here. The Zerglings want to try to melt away all of those Marines. If he's able to melt the Marines, the Vikings are not going to be able to deal that much damage. There are also these missile turrets are also going to be a problem. Banelings are upgraded 1-0, so they deal 85 damage against structures as well. No additional armor upgrades, as the Marines are now going to take down this set of destructible debris and now try to move out. Mutalisks on the move. Once again, there are missile turrets spread out across the base, so the Mutalisks are going to simply ignore those missile turrets and now try to take them down one at a time. Another missile turret now taken down, and what is going to be happening as those Mutalisks just cleaning up the rest of the map. Zerglings in the center, and Mutalisks still being added on. Production-wise, not much really happening. Let's take a look at the unit count. 22 Mutalisks. They are upgraded 1-0, and now lifting off and trying to establish this expansion here. There is, a couple Overlords that were spawning creep in this location. Marines and a Thor now getting ready, and now what's going to happen with these Mutalisks? Mutalisks now trying to come in. Are they going to be able to magic box? No, going after the siege tanks instead. Siege tanks now all getting destroyed, but the Thor getting a lot of attacks across multiple Mutalisks, as they were not magic boxed at all. One Infestor with a lot of energy, enough for 2 fungal growths, may be able to shut this down in just a moment. Zerglings and Mutalisks now pushing in. This may be the last stand, as the Infestor needs to pull in just a moment, perhaps get some fungal growth across multiple SCVs. There you go. You can see how much damage. Multiple SCVs dying. 14 kills on one Infestor, and there's the game. So yeah, nicely done by Argos. Argos taking this game here on Scrap Station. Apparently the game wasn't nearly as long as I thought it was. I thought I was just at the halfway point. Gotta remember, game time versus StarCraft 2 time, not quite the same. So CargoPros hanging on ever so barely, but Argos, I believe he just recomposed himself at the very end and came in and attacked with a very nice timing. One Baneling did a lot of damage across multiple SCVs, and then the fungal growth making it so that those SCVs couldn't really do much at all, and then finished it up. CargoPros, I'm taking a look at the loss tab. Yeah, you can see Argos actually lost more, but because he was able to mine more minerals and mine more gas, he was able to take the game. Actions per minute, both sides really high, 181 versus 179. I know some of you guys have been asking for those additional production or additional tabs to keep track of the game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between CargoPros and Argos Xenix here on Scrap Station.